Yeah, hey, just wanted to try to do a video response to Deb Truth's posting about cap and trade. Got to admit that I'm not too familiar with her earlier postings. I kind of stumbled upon this by another subscription. First of all, everything is, thank you for, for talking about cap and trade and the threat that it poses really to both the consumers of the industry and the process of getting carbon balancing going in an orderly manner. That is to say, to balance those. The fact that we've got to pay for it. I kind of go by a philosophy that says that the ultimate source of all the monies that's going to be used to correct the climate imbalance, the carbon imbalances. There's only one source, and that's the taxpayers and the ratepayers. So it's really important that we see the process of making that correction one that can work equitably. And cap and trade is the wrongest market philosophy that has come down the pike. Now, you made a statement that was something to the effect that, well, in the spring there will be cap and trade passed. Whoa. Will not pass. Cap and trade will not pass. Cap and trade will not pass. And what we have to make sure of is that with cap and trade not passing, the solving the climate change problem doesn't go out with the bathwater. Okay. Some interesting video, responses there that kind of showed that we really don't have a good model for any kind of cap and trade program that's really worked in any way that is in any way relevant to what's being proposed. That the experience in Europe, which is one of the things that they held up, are all over the map. It's much more of a failure on balance than a success story with regard to its efforts. The other being that the acid rain, sulfur dioxide reductions, as the model to prove that cap and trade works is totally bogus and erroneous, because the solutions were readily available. They were off-the-shelf solutions. They were things that people could do. You can either pay this huge fee, or you can go over to the shelf and install that onto your smokestacks, and you can achieve your sulfur reductions. We don't have that with carbon. We don't know what the solution to carbon is going to be. We do not know. The research does not show. Carbon capture and sequestration is totally unproven. It has a 20-year best time horizon. So we have to get away from the idea that we can finance through the free market mechanism of emissions trading, which is a financial instrument trading, to provide those monies back into the system that we're going to solve. And in order to get away from that, what we really need to do is to have the option that's going to be available for taking the place of the cap and trade program. And that option has to be seen to be a carbon tax. Most interestingly, Peter Orszag, who's the Office of Management and Budget, will be director now under Obama, when he was head of the Congressional Budget Office, himself, directed the study of the market solutions to climate change and an assessment of the options that are available, and that included all of the various cap and trade mechanisms, including the offsets and including price limits and et cetera, et cetera. So it included all of those options in the study along with the carbon tax, and found the carbon tax, these are my words, okay, to be the cheaper and the faster method that's available. So what we really have to do as we go forward is to make sure that there is a loud and clear call for a carbon tax solution as opposed to a cap and trade solution. And that will put the Goldman Sachs desk, at either the ICE or the Chicago exchange, basically out of business, because the carbon tax is something that can be levied readily. The mechanisms are available. If you read that CBO study, you can see that it can be readily done. And you can also see that the rationale for why it's superior. And if you take a look at the developments that have happened since that study was done, I'm pretty sure that study's it's either a year and a half or almost 2 years. I guess it's almost 2 years old now. You look at the development since the study was done. You can see that the factors have all, would all be in the direction of going with the carbon tax. Carbon taxes, and rather than me say, everybody should be reading that study. So that's kind of my message. My message is that for those of us who are environmentalists, I'm an environmentalist. I'm a person who worked in the electric utility industry. I was a general manager of an electric utility, in my professional career, and that want to see us actually take the actions that can be done. The carbon tax is the way to go, and I'm not a Jim Hansen carbon taxer, okay? I'm not, well, you raise the carbon tax and then you give the money back to the people. No, you raise the carbon tax, you give some of the money back to the people that can't afford, the least that can afford it. Sure, that mechanism has to be available because lower income people pay more percentage of their income for energy than the rest of the world. Yeah, that's fine, but the monies that to be gathered by the carbon tax has to be used for the purpose of achieving the goals of the caps. Okay, the caps and the levels and the targets are fine, but we need to have a strong stream of funds that comes from the industry that goes to changing the industry, and in fact, in some cases replacing what's in the industry that's causing the carbon imbalances. So that's my suggestion: a strong anti cap and trade substituted for a strong carbon tax that's realistic, that has the monies to do the renewables and the efficiency that needs to be done. Thanks very much, Deb, for putting that out there. Thanks very much.